Hello, everybody. I'm George from Ireland, and this is about the SEND Con, special educational needs and disabilities. Anyway, special needs. I've been hearing this phrase certainly since the 1990s. Now, dyslexia has been known about for over a century, and dyspraxia and dyscalculia and whatever. Learning difficulties. So, I mean, everybody has difficulty learning. We can't learn infinitely. We can't get 100% in everything, but we're talking about these have got to be significantly below average or below where you are in other areas. I know the people who say and claim that dyslexia doesn't even exist. A primary school teacher telling me it's just a middle class word for low literacy and so forth. Goodness. Yeah, some people find things very, very difficult indeed. Most people have some difficulties. Also, things I'm bad at. Shall I say I'm just thick at them? I'm a thicko when it comes to chemistry, physics, IT. There are lots of things at which I am deficient. Stupid. I can call myself stupid. I'm an idiot in certain areas. Really, I'm idiotic in these views. Now, that would be a rather brusque way to say it about other people. But, talents are not dished out equally. Some people are gifted, more gifted than others. And there are many different intelligences. People can have kinesthetic intelligence or musical intelligence as opposed to a literary intelligence or a mathematical intelligence and so forth. I'm in the United Kingdom, and I propose this largely being an SEN con. All must have prizes. So there's this ridiculous idea that if you're slow at reading or writing, therefore you should have extra time in an exam, 25% extra time, maybe 50% extra time. No, you shouldn't. Okay, you can't do it in the allotted time. Well, then you're going to get a lower mark, right? And that's life, because in that regard, you are less intelligent than others. Okay, and needing more time, well, that's like not as good. Comes to the 100 meters in the Olympics, right? People run it in 9 seconds. Because I'm slow, should they give me a little bit of a head start and you have to run 50 meters rather than 100? No, I'm slower than them. That is an inequality, because my talents are unequal. Doesn't mean I should have an unequal amount of time to do it. So it's unfair and things like that. So we have to accept that. In a non-calculator exam, should they give a calculator to me because I'm bad at maths? No, I'm just bad at it. It doesn't matter which label you put on it. Come to like languages. I mean, I knew some people are fantastic at languages. Some people had just the same exposure, were terrible at languages and things like that. So we have to accept that there is a spectrum of ability. And no, we shouldn't be giving extra time or indeed extra lessons to those who are not as good. And I've got to be frank that some people are ineducable. Everybody's got a ceiling in different subjects. Like, my ceiling in like physics or chemistry is about 14. I could scarcely achieve beyond that. Even with one-on-one lessons, I guess, even the best teacher in the world, I wouldn't achieve much more. And we just have to accept that some people are never going to be able to read or write. Some people are never going to be able to count and so on. And we are spending staggering sums of money on those who are going to achieve almost nothing. Rather than, and it actually doesn't really help them or the economy, rather than on those who are going to achieve. So there are young people who are very weak at mathematics, literacy, whatever it is, and then they're given lots of lessons. And there's someone I know of who missed 25 lessons in a row of online maths lessons. So that is a huge waste of money for the public, being treated like it's got no value. It's never the person's fault. Well, it is the person's fault when this person is almost an adult, when he or she doesn't show up. The thing is, we know that the mind is a muscle. It's got to be exercised to work. If you don't practice something, you don't stagnate, you retard. I could speak Russian quite well 7 years ago. I can't speak Royal at all now because I haven't practiced sufficiently. So, local councils are bankrupting themselves. There's this ever-expanding definition of special educational needs. Over 20% of people are SEN. Cambridge undergraduates, something like 20% of them are SEN. It's preposterous. Anyone who finds anything a little bit difficult is going to get extra time, able to have an exam in a different room. We're overly sympathetic. We're bending over backwards to facilitate these people. And then the sharp-elbowed middle-class parents, they can pay for the educational psychologists or the chartered educational psychologists to give you the diagnosis you believe. I remember as a course in 2005, and I said to this to an SEN woman, I said, well, forgive me, this is too cynical. Are they just sort of exploiting this to get extra advantages for their children? She said, it's not too cynical. That's exactly what's happening. So they get extra time or whatever it is to boost their children. They get one-on-one tuition paid for by the taxpayer, and it's not fair, and it's a huge squandering of resources. And often it's against people who can achieve almost nothing because they've got psychiatric disorders or they're just unintelligent, not wanting to be rude. I know a young woman who's outstanding at textiles, who's not that good at humanities. It's not terrible. She has an intelligence which I don't have, regarding textiles. So we have to accept there's going to be a spread of results. Okay, not everyone is going to get a degree, not everyone's going to get A levels, not everyone's going to get GCSE, and not everyone's going to get functional skills, and they deserve all this help. No, they don't. What have they done to deserve it? Okay, so what if it was your child? Someone said to me, it was my child. I would insist on fairness. My child, I'm not saying whether I have children or not, he or she should not get extra time, should not get one-on-one tuition paid for by the taxpayer. And you're just going to have to cope, and that's it. We can't give you extra time in your job, and life is time limited. We can't have a tutor in your job giving you all this. This is just unwarrantable. I mean, often it's not needed, and it's unfair. And yeah, it's just because the parents have been more argumentative, banging their fists on the table. We have to take into account someone's SEN. Okay, but we all have special educational needs because we're all different. So that's the logical endpoint of this. So everybody gets extra time. So we don't have to do the same exam. We don't have to do the same syllabi. Everything's individualized. It's just impossible to manage that. We have to admit some people have got global developmental delay or just less intelligent. So it's a huge burden on the taxpayer, and it's crushing the life out of the education system. It just makes it impossible to teach people, more and more people to get one-on-one tuition. Yeah, it's not fair. It's unmanageable, and it's too expensive. And often when it's behavioral problems, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, I mean, it might be not enough sleep, it might be too much caffeine or sugar, things like that. It might just be badly behaved. Can we not just bring that back? Children are not naughty. Some of them are. I was a child, I was naughty sometimes. So, we shouldn't always be making excuses and labeling people. And then there's a sort of get out of jail free card. Remember trying to help my pupil correct her spelling. She said, I'm a dyslexic, as if to say that it's not wrong, or I shouldn't even try. I know if someone's dyslexic, she finds it's more difficult to spell correctly. We have to still try to improve. And it can't be get out of jail free card. And obviously spelling matters, partly because people might misunderstand the word, or even things like, for the bank, you're giving your IBAN code. If you get letters wrong, the money could go to the wrong account. A password is got to be precise. So sometimes spelling does matter. I know with autocorrect and spell check, it doesn't matter as much as it used to do. So this is a con trick, yeah, and we're being had for fools. Do you think in these countries like Japan or South Korea or Singapore, with growing economies, with really robust growth, who've lifted out of poverty, do you think they're indulging all this nonsense? They're giving people this extra time and this one-on-one tuition. Do you think they're excusing atrocious behavior and saying it's just somebody's psychology? Okay, everyone's got a different psychology. You might have traits towards bad behavior. You've got to control those traits. That is not permission to behave appallingly, and we all have to suck it up. There are people in prison with personality disorders. Tough. No. Change your behavior. You're going to have to change your psychology. I know you can't get a new personality, but you can control it. They say, be yourself. Well, actually, some people will be better off being someone else. Anyway, so that is the whole truth. 50% of children are below average. We're going to have poor grades. We're going to have to fail some things. I fail some things. It's actually good for you to fail some things. Imagine getting to 18 or 21 or something like that, never having failed anything, and then you get rejected for the job you really want, and then you fail your degree, or then you're sacked from a job or whatever. And you go to pieces. You need to be inoculated against disappointment. You're going to experience disappointment later in life. Some outcomes will be less than ideal. And that is good for you to know. That's also good to know what you're not good at. We can't all be brilliant at everything. And of course, there's going to be a spread of ability and achievement. And say, oh, the person was failed by the system. The system is made up of people, often dedicated professionals who are striving their level best to help some people who make very little effort, some people very badly behaved. Oh, it's never the child's fault. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's the parent's fault. Sometimes it's the teacher's fault. It's a shared responsibility. When a child is 5, yes, it mostly is the responsibility of the teachers and the parents. By the time someone's 18 or almost, it's mainly down to that young person, himself or herself. Okay, they've got to be taking more responsibility. And same with this, extending this childhood into adulthood, infantilizing university students is preposterous. It's just ludicrous, and it's unsustainable. How can we survive with this system where this crisis of entitlements, this ever expanding notion that people need to have special dispensation and help, and so there's no generality left because there's so many exceptions. It's daft. goodness. So we need to grow up and rediscover disciplined personal responsibility. And yeah, sometimes it is the young person's fault because he or she didn't make an effort. Sometimes it's not the person's fault, just he or she doesn't have the aptitude for various things. And so, yeah, so we should be willing to have some standards to recognize, let's say A star in A level should be very, very rare indeed. So the top 5% or something like that. Likewise, grade 9, you know, we can't all be geniuses. That would be crazy. That'd be stupid. It would just render the term meaningless. Right. Anyway, thanks very much for watching my channel. My deeply unfashionable views. I take a very capitalist view on this one. And I have to be forthright on this because there's this bandwagon effect. There's this herd is saying, oh, everybody's SEN, everyone's neurodiverse. Okay, and I know some people are quite outside the norm. So am I. People say, oh, you're Asperger as though it's an insult. Well, maybe they're right. I remember neurodiverse used to be a lesson charitably known as weird in my childhood. So that's my middle name. So never accused of normality. All right. So thanks very much for watching my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon. Donate PayPal, georgecallan7@gmail.com. Goodbye.